This is my Integra DC2 Type R, the world's worst, but we are rebuilding it.
I've been working hard to reshell the worst Integra in the world.
It's smoking, it's smoking, it's smoking, we're a fire stop!
We've removed all the running gear from the old car and prepping a new shell to the highest standard I possibly can. But I've miscalculated and things are about to get drastic.
What's that?
I don't know.
I don't actually even know what to say right now. I've wrecked the car.
Oh my god.
Right, so welcome back to the channel, guys. This is the Integra DC2. There's been a small delay because of all the progress that's been happening for this episode. We originally were going to build wheel cribs for this car. Now, before I mention that and fill you in with that, I just want to say there's been a lot of progress with the channel, a lot of new subscribers and a lot of new viewers, so we really appreciate it. Thanks very much. And if you haven't already done so, please consider subscribing. It's completely free of charge. Like the video, it helps grow the channel, and we would love to put more back into the channel and start repaying you guys in some way, so that would be great. Next, another thing to touch on, the new compressor has arrived and has been rewired in, and we've got a new main box wired in because there was a few faults with some of the stuff in here, so that's all been tidied up and this will be coming soon. That's got more than enough to run the blaster, but we'll touch on that when the blasting episode comes. I've made a mistake though, it doesn't have quick connectors like the SGS one does, and I need to plumb in a system that will come round here with a regulator, with a water trap and stuff, but that will come in a future episode. But going back to the wheel cribs, basically, if you don't know what a wheel crib is, it's like Jenga. You can build wheel cribs, and when you can either jack your car up, or like mine, since I've got a small ramp, I could lower the car down onto the wheel cribs. So you'd have Jenga in each corner, and that would let me keep the car about this height, but the ramp would be down, and that would give me full access to the floor pan. And I could clean all the underseal off the floor pan, but there was a change in direction. And then another mistake I made, which I'll get to in a second, one of you guys actually seen a post I put in one of the Honda pages and watched the video and then contacted me to say that you, or he, Robert, had a spit, or a rotisserie, or whatever, a jig. So, and the thing I want to do first in this episode is mount this spit to the Honda, and then that means I'll be able to rotate it and work it head height. And I actually need this for another car that we have coming later in the year. Now, second mistake I made, this is like 40 mil, I measured it wrong, and for the way I want to fabricate this, you'll know I'm a novice in a minute, I need it to overlap slightly for an idea I've got, and I've bought 60 by 60 and it's huge. So Michelle comes over here. I bought 60 by 60 box section, and when you see it next to the 50 by 50, it's a bit dramatic, and that's 40 by 40, so even that's a bit overkill. We should have got 45 if you can get it, I'm not sure. But anyway, first thing we're going to do in this video is mock up, if we come around here, Michelle, we need to mock up a jig for the Integra to mount it to the spit. So what I've done over here is I've taken the liberty, because we did actually start this episode a couple of days ago and then realised that the box section was too big. I've also got a sheet or 3mm steel plate, and I have drilled holes in it, and I'm going to use these crash bar points to mount our jig to the front, and in the back where the chassis legs are, the rails, we're going to slide, make this something similar from the front, and they're going to slide in, and then we'll bolt it so that it can't run away. So that's what we're going to do in this episode. Now, I am a complete amateur. Two things here. I need to make sure I can measure this up and kind of do it the way I've got it in my head, because I'm not working off a drawing. And I need to make sure it's strong enough that the Integra doesn't collapse off of the spit. So, bit anxious, bit amateurish, which you guys will see in a second. So first thing we're going to do is we're just going to start cutting and welding and make up whatever I've got in my head, and you guys can let me know in the comments what I'm doing wrong, please, because I would like to get better for the next time, because this is going to be specific to the Integra only really, because of the mounting points, and I don't want to weld onto the jig, because if I then change it for the next car I'd have to cut the jig. So I want to make a separate thing up for here, so let's get started.
Stop.
Before I start cutting, Michelle's keeping on top of me with health and safety, something we all should take seriously when working on our projects, and you'll see why in a second.
Oh! A spark bumped through my trainer there. This is going to weld onto there, then a beam from here to the other one, and then another leg coming out from the beam and onto the jig. But I want to do it in a way, but that's quite thick. Did you say it's 3mm?
Yeah.
So because we need to put a couple of slits in it, and then I might need to drill a hole through it so that I can bolt it on to the jig so that it's universal. Right, so that's one down, and then all of a sudden I throw one up and two falls in my hands. Ready? I've not got two yet, I can't do that. Right, let's try that again. So I've got two box sections now. Weldy, 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 weldy. So let's get to the welder, because we need to tack these on first and weld them up before we do the next part.
Before I measure my beam length, I've cut two pieces I'll need for bolting points later, and then I measure the beam length.
106.5. Measure once, cut twice.
No.
Let's do it.
With the length cut, I then weld my feet to the beam length, my feet for the jig that is, not my actual feet.
I think my settings are better there.
While that's cooling, I've made some cuts for the back of the car and bolt the front onto the car. One mistake I've made is not saying the dad joke of, "That's not going anywhere," after bolting it all together, which may have been the bad luck I'm about to face later. I then split pinned both ends of the spit, and that's the front and the back finished. From what you guys see here, I did actually add an extra brace on the back into the chassis rails because I wasn't too confident that it wouldn't bend the metal.
I want to talk about something which I tried to incorporate, you guys might be fabricators and engineers, was just the centre line of the car. So I tried to incorporate the centre point, the axis, the swinging point, through the centre, so it's not to the one side, and when we let this go it's just going to want to roll by itself. We're trying to keep balance. Now another point is there's wheels on this, and I don't have a beam connecting from one end to the other, so it might want to roll out. So to combat that, I wanted a bolt-on system. So we've bolted it on through the crash bar at the front, so we've made our own kind of crash bar. We've bolted it on through here. My welding is really going to be put to the test here. I don't even know if that is structurally safe or strong. I've just made this up from the top of my head. The reason why I done it a clamp style like this with a bolt is because I didn't want to weld onto this bar, and then if I want to change it for another car, I have to cut and shut every time I want to use the jig. So I've done it this way. I've not seen anything to suggest that I've done it right or wrong. I've just purely plucked it from the top of my head. So this is on at the front, and if I take you around to the back, it's the same but a slightly different system. So round at the back here, it's a little bit less complicated. I don't have plates. Really what I wanted to do was slide into the chassis rail, but 50 by 50 doesn't fit in because there is a little dip in the floor pan which stops it. 40 box section slips in. But like I said, if I slip long pieces of box section into the chassis rail here, then my floor is uneven and the jig, the spit will want to separate and roll off. I really wanted to bolt, and if I fire something long in there, I've got no access to bolt. So what I've done is I've made up my jig for the back here, and I've bolted it through the bottom. Now I'm going to be putting a lot of stress on this box section here, which I'm not really confident about. I'm a little bit worried, especially if we turn this straight upside down. When the weight goes on, it will be fine because it will be resting on this. But after that, when we start turning, I'm a little bit concerned, to be honest. But again, it's off the top of my head. It's adjusted, it's on. I don't know what else to say. This is the first time I've ever done anything like this. I've kind of seen it done almost a few times, but I've never done it. And I don't know if this is going to be good enough, but this is my first time. I just want to show you guys everything I do with this. So I've lowered it, and it's holding its own weight so far. Have a look quick before it falls.
Just for proof of the levitating car.
It's creaking, it's creaking. See, my floor is poorly installed because we all tried to do it drunk. So it's kind of uphill. So this wants to roll this way, I think. Which is why Michelle's put 2 blocks there. I'll cut this, I'll jam a piece in each side just to give it some extra support so that it's not going to collapse. Shouldn't have stuck my fingers in there. And then we're going to start stripping the suspension and start rotating. So I'm going to have a change of clothes because look, look at my trousers. Look what happened.
How did that happen?
These are some of my best clothes. I don't shop for clothes. I buy tools and invest in the channel. So if you haven't already done so at this point, like the video and subscribe to the channel. Anything and any growth will be put back into the channel, and hopefully one day we can start supporting you guys back. Right, let's get all this off and start rotating the spit.
This is where things started going wrong. I've never really mounted a spit before, but I have worked on a car that's been on one. These are all new depths, but I want to get better and improve, so to do that we have to challenge ourselves. To be safe, I've left the ramp in as a safety net in case it goes horribly wrong, but then I've spotted an issue that Michelle wasn't quite able to grasp.
That's going to go there, look. We've done something major with that.
Mine's just still on the numbers, isn't it?
No, but think about this. It's going to tip the jig that way. The centre there has to be through the centre there. So we've done it wrong. Understand?
No.
Think about this now. Think of that, all the weight that's this side of that. If we keep turning it to the car's on its side, the floor is going to be on this side of the jig. Whereas the centre of the car needs to be through the centre of that. So we're miles out here. Think about it. See if you're rotating something on a spit, say like a hog, the shaft needs to be straight through the middle. We don't have that right now. If you think your centre line straight through the middle of the car, your centre line is this side of the car, not through the middle of the car. So the mounting points are mental, and I think that's why yours wants to go further. We're struggling here. Basically what I think is happening is the balance of the car on the spit isn't straight through the middle, and I've fixed it to the crash point here and then to the bottom rail there, so I think there's a bit of a difference. And then because we're on the chassis rail, all the weight is above that point and not through the middle. If we picture this like a hog on a spit, it's not straight through the middle. This is our point, and we've got too much weight to the one side. We've not got it balanced. So it's wanting to over rotate at the back, and it's really, really heavy, and it's really, really sketchy. But if it helps me just to rotate it, and I'm using the ramp there still to catch the side to lower it gently, if that's going to be my safety net, and I can get it on my side good enough that I can wire wheel that side, because I've got half decent exposure right now, then it might be a good enough job. But in terms of balance points and fixing points and everything, I've clearly made a mistake. Some of you guys can let me know in the comments how I'm supposed to actually do this, but we're going to gamble and go a little bit more rotation.
Now after seeing all that, I've got no idea why I continued, knowing we essentially had a pendulum and not a hog. And looking at the car through the camera, I'm now screaming like all you at home not to go any further. But I did.
So they are, don't.
Now the next issue I have is the car is essentially laying on its side on the ramp, and it's on a knife edge. Any wrong movement and it's going to roll over onto its roof, and that's game over. So I had to call for backup, and the worst thing you can do is feed ammo for future slaggings to your older brother, but I had no other choice. I've secured the ratchet strap to the office again like the Corsa video to stop it from rolling, and we've used the 60x60 box section that I ordered earlier as levers to rotate the car back up.
3, 2, 1, go.
Once it's back on the jig again, Gary's spidey sense kicked in and made him cling to the car and refuse to let go.
Are you ready? It's coming up, just keep going.
Oh, right, that's me in one.
Right. Michelle, no. Gary, is that alright down there?
Aye.
Michelle, take it back out, we're going all the way up.
Right, go.
I can't go any further.
Right,
Oh, by the way.
Yeah,
The full cover.
Can I let go?
right, can that put something in
Aye, it's in, Gary. It's in, it'll swivel now. Gary, listen, we're going to go to the end here.
I can't feel underneath at that point.
No, just come in here. Cover it. It's done. Michelle, you ready? There we go.
Other side?
Aye, cover it. Alright,
It's getting.
I don't actually even know what to say right now. I've wrecked the car. I've f***ed the whole quarter. It looks a bit like the Corsa. I think, see when it touched the ramp, and it's the block, I think the block has nipped it. Oh, I don't have words, man. I think I fitted the jig wrong, which, to be honest, I'm not an engineer, I'm just trying to make this shit up, man. I honestly don't have words. This isn't scripted, obviously. I'm supposed to be fixing this and now I've wrecked it. I don't even, Michelle stuck a camera in my face like Joe Rogan. It's quite nasty. And see the worst bit about it, Michelle, I didn't want to paint the quarters. I wanted to leave it. And now I've lost 4 days. A day to go and get the spit, a day to fabricate it, and then it was wrong material, so I lost a day.
and then the day. And today it's went from bad to worse. The only positive is that my welding's obviously class, because that's not the problem here. The problem's my, is it a physics issue? It's to do with 50-50 weight distribution, let's put it that way. So let me show you what I think I've done wrong so that hopefully I'll learn from it. So what I've done here, and the reason why I've done it, which I think everybody will agree, is that it's shaped like a crucifix here, right? I've adjusted this during the process to be like this. It was nowhere near that. So when you picture my jig to the beginning, you guys are probably screaming, don't roll it, because the weight through needs to be through the centre line, and my weight was too high. Now I could have adjusted this down to bring the pivot point closer to the bar that I welded on, and we never done that. But then I think I've realised that this should be completely round the other way. But then if I'd done that, I don't think this spit is big enough for clearance. But if you, Gary, see if you put it down the other way, then you just wind it all the way up. That would then make it higher, would it not?
Maybe. But the footprint on it is tiny as well. The wheels are so close to the inside that once it's fully loaded with weight, it's going to want to roll away. It's not got a massive footprint.
And it's a heavy chassis, by the way. It's not light.
No, it's not.
As you just witnessed and Gary experienced. But this is the problem why I took chemistry. No, I didn't. I took biology at school and no physics.
You took days off at school?
I never took days off. Only Michelle benefited for that because you learn about lady parts in biology.
If you work them as badly as you work that, then I feel sorry for it.
I don't have words. I was actually, my biggest concern was glass smashing, to be honest, and it's wrecked a quarter. At least at that, it's just, oh my god man, it's completely creased that. Who's got Danny's phone number? Phone Danny, let's phone Danny. Will we phone Danny?
Hello.
Danny, mate,
What are you laughing at?
it's no good news, mate. And it rolled ever nearly onto its roof and it's a quarter, mate. Look.
Aye, I can see it, mate, I can see it.
Look under there.
Mate, is that oh my god.
It's just a wee crimple in it, but I wasn't want to paint it. Oh, I'm gonna have to.
Aye, you repaint it now.
Mate, it's, I don't know if you can see from that angle, it's worse than the Corsa now.
Aye, it's pushed in a wee bit.
Is that fixable, mate? Hey,
Aye,
you could
aye.
put that, hang and pull that out. There's nothing in it at all.
You better do, man. You can really see there. Is your camera all broke?
Aye, mate, it's the back one's smashed.
Don't shut the door.
Don't do that!
Oh, mate, it nearly fell again just shutting the door. Think I should glue pull that?
No. You're on your blocks. You're on your blocks.
You might have two sides today because I'm going to try and turn it over again.
Aye, but they don't work as if it's meant to be there. It's symmetrical.
Take two. The same direction. So after all the drama, I've flipped the spit mounts 180 degrees and it's time to try again. Don't think Michelle's quite up for it though.
Go, Gary, go. That shows the way to go. Go. Go, Gary.
Michelle's done it, man.
Aye, but the two of them need to be.
I thought
Michelle, are you looking okay?
I thought you were just going to send it to the second one straight after that.
Right, Gary, go. Michelle, pin out.
Right.
Next one.
That's the point I like for the weight changes, so it wants to go to south.
Keep going, Gary. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going, Gary. Keep going, Gary. Let it down, Gary.
Let it turn?
Aye. Just want to go to sell again, innit?
Aye.
Right, my pin's in, Michelle's your pin in.
Yes.
Everybody let go. Let go.
Should we go get a wee done to make sure it's safe? No, look that.
Don't do
We're
that.
That's nothing.
What?
With a lever in it for a safety.
It's the same thing, we've done it! Woohoo! Let's go another pin.
No.
So we made a big boo-boo, obviously, but I hope I've corrected it. So, and that's what it's about in this channel. I wanted to show you guys my mistakes. Originally, this episode was supposed to be me actually finishing the car and painting it. But in real life, this is a real channel and I want this to be relatable content and show overcoming the tasks and not just shying away from them. So that's why I've ended it as a disaster episode. Next time, it will be painted, I promise. Thanks so much for watching this video. Don't forget to like the video, comment in the comment section about my failure, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you guys on the next one.